Hey up, how are you doing? Welcome back to TGTV. So in this video, I was going to show you some of the basics for Katana Two-Tone Studio. So this is where you can just expand on the amp and just bring in lots of new sounds and effects. So just imagine that you've got the amp for the first time and you just want to hook it up to your computer. Just make sure you've got a good USB lead because you need to obviously connect to your computer in some way. So you'd use a USB lead. Straight to your computer, and then if you launch what you've downloaded, the Tone Studio for the Katana, you can just start to have a play about and actually edit on screen instead of on the amp itself. So this is what you would see when you go into the editor. This is the main editor screen. Okay, now you can see here that these kind of mimic the panel of the amp itself. So you've got the different sounds there, and obviously the different section there you can go into, and you've got some of the effects kind of here, but what we're going to do on this is actually go a bit of a deep dive on the effects and just show you each of these sections here, okay? But first of all, I just want to show you the chain for the effects. Now, this actually shows you where you place the effects themselves. You can put them in front of the preamp, or you can have them after. Particularly if you're using drives, you want to have delays, after the preamp section. But with things like modulation, and effects, try having them before and after the preamp, just to see how they sound, because you can get some quite different style sounds. The same effect can sound different if it's after instead of before. So have a bit of a play with that and see how you get on. We're just going to look at some of the extra things that you'd find once you bring in Tone Studio to the mix. So you've got all these booster pedals there. Now you would select some of this stuff on the amp, but obviously you're not quite sure what you're going into on the amp itself. There's nothing up with just playing with the amp and getting the sounds from there and saving them. But doing a bit of a deep dive with the Tone Studio, it just opens up so many possibilities. So with these effects, you can turn them on and off with that button there. And if you're using a mouse, you can just use the left button of the mouse held down to change those dials. You can also use the up and down keys on your keyboard to kind of change that as well. You just click on the one that you need and start playing away there with that. The next section is modulation. Now, there's a lot more than modulation in the FX section. There's all kinds of stuff. There's wahs in there. There's acoustic sims. There's, what else have we got? You've got EQs in there as well. So that's where you'd find all that kind of stuff. So if you just get used to what's in there, you've got compressors in there as well, don't forget. So if you're using those, you want to obviously put that in front of the amp. If you're using a compressor in that section. If you go to the FX section, it mimics the same thing. Now this is a key new feature of the Mark II Katana, where you can have more effects on at the same time. Sometimes before you had a bit of a crossover with the sort of boosters and the mods, and there was a bit of a trade-off in some ways on that. So it's a definite step up there from Boss for this second gen unit. And you've got all the analog delays there. You've got digital delays, you've got tape echoes. You've got a bit of a classic there as well. You've got some big delay times there you can use. And you've got a second delay as well, so you can even stack delays like Hank Marvin and kind of get that more modern style shadow sound. And you've got all the usual suspects there as well with different options there to get the sound you need. And now don't forget with pedal effects, you can use that with the Katana. So if you plug in an expression pedal even into the pedal socket, you can use a pitch shift, whammy style effect, and you can use different wahs as well. And you can actually position where you do it. So the input's obviously best for that kind of thing, for wah sections definitely. And one that I use a lot here, you can make such a drastic kind of change to the sound of the amp with this. So definitely start bringing in the EQ. What I would say is, as a good tip, is just kind of get the sound as near as you can with what you're looking for in these sections here, and then you may find that it's not quite there. They're quite basic sort of preamps these, so you can make a hell of a difference with this stuff here. So you can use it in front of the amp or use it after. There's a parametric and there's a slider EQ. So I prefer the GE10 because I just love playing with sliders, and I'm just more used to this kind of EQ myself. After that, you've got the noise suppressor, just self-explanatory there. And then some of the more deep dive stuff like these two things at the end I'll cover in another video. But that's just giving you some of the basics of Katana Two-Tone Editor. And if you've got any questions, just drop me a message through here, or just send an email to tonegarage@hotmail.com. and I'll do the best I can to answer that. But thank you for listening and have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye.